Okay, and we are live. Welcome everyone to another Saturday live stream. I hope you're well. Gotta apologize. Sorry for being a little bit late. As usual, I can never do these on time. But we're going on holiday. That's vacation for anyone that's in the US tomorrow. So it's a little bit crazy today. We're trying to pack, and I'm probably a little bit crazy doing a live stream on the day before we go away on holiday. But it is what it is. I just love. I really like going live, and I really like talking to you guys and doing this. So. Yeah, we're going to continue doing this. But I might have to cut this a little short. So I might be having to do a short one today on this live stream. But we'll see how it goes. So today I want to talk a little bit about improvising and why I love improvising so much. And specifically, I'm going to try and break down and talk about 5 tips that I use when I try and improvise. And if anyone can actually hear me or anything like that, if anyone's watching live, then just give me a little boobity boop on the old comments, just saying coming through okay. Hopefully it's not distorting or anything like that. Hopefully you can all hear me okay. But so improvising is an interesting one. I feel like I'm really drawn to improvising. It's got something very magical about it, It's the only way I feel I can truly and honestly musically express myself in the moment. To me, I see it as like really fast composing, It's composing so fast you don't really have time to think about it, And that's why I feel like it's a really honest way of expressing yourself, because you don't have the time to think about what you're doing. You just have to just instinctively go wherever you feel like going, And of course we can practice and train and learn the scales and the patterns, the right notes to play. But I feel like when I'm improvising, at least, I try not to think about that too much, I actually don't think about it at all. I just kind of instinctively know which notes will sound good. And the more I push it, the more I kind of dare myself to go in uncharted territory. I have the notes that I know will sound great, and I go there to play safe. But sometimes, more often these days, I go in sort of the uncharted territory, the notes that I don't know 100% will work or not, and that's the exciting bit, I feel. And I'm trying to do that more and more, be uncomfortable, kind of being comfortable with uncomfortable, this whole thing that I've talked about. Hey Carlos, how's it going? Sounds good. Great. Perfect. Okay. So I don't really think about theory or kind of chords or anything like this theoretically. It's just kind of instinctively when I play. I just do what's right in the moment when it comes to improvising, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but that's what makes it magical, I feel. You can practice a song perfectly for weeks and months, and it can be the greatest song ever, and that's great. That's one thing, that's great, and it sounds great, but with improvising, it's kind of something else. It's different to that. It's got this magical, because you haven't practiced it, you may have practiced improvising itself, and that's good, but playing the notes that you actually play when you're improvising, you haven't practiced them, because you're just kind of, as you're playing them, you're composing them, so it has this kind of magic to it. I see it a bit like talking, a bit like, I haven't really practiced these words that I'm talking to you right now, but I'm pretty good at speaking English sometimes, most of the time, and I've been doing it long enough. And it's a similar kind of thing, it's like I know the language of music well enough that I can just kind of improvise and talk in my musical language, and it's that kind of risk of failure, that kind of makes it magical and makes it worth it. But it makes it even better when it is really good. That's what makes it so good, and so much so worth it. We've all done these mistakes. I say mistakes. There's no mistakes, but it's there's some improvising. There's some days when improvising sounds great, and there's some days when it doesn't sound as good. And that's all part of the risk. So yeah, no matter how good you are, no matter how much you've practiced, there's always a chance of it sounding not sounding as good when you're improvising, and that's kind of what makes it magical. But there's also a chance of it sounding amazing as well. So I'm just curious out of who's listening, who's out there. Also, let me know in the comments if you're watching this on the replay. Are you someone that improvises a lot? Just reply yes in the comments or no in the comments. Just out of interest, it's something that I do almost every song. I try and have some kind of bit where I'm improvising, but it's really, I'm drawn to it so much, but I know that other people are not necessarily that much drawn to it. So let's go straight to the tips. I got my guitar here. Turn on the mic. Hopefully this sounds all right. Okay. Had very little time to set up today, so hopefully it sounds all right. But it sounds okay in my headphones, so that's good. So tip number one. We'll go straight to number one. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. This is, and these are also the tips that I tell myself. It's good to keep it simple. The less notes and nicer melodies. This is something that I try not to fit in too many notes when I'm improvising. It's although at times you do get carried away and try and do lots of hammer-ons and pull-offs and it is fun to do that, of course, but in general it's kind of nicer to have these simple melodies. I feel that's how I kind of tell myself, and better note choices as well, and try not to rush, So this is kind of the example that I'm choosing of today's song. It's a song that I do called Banks of the Dee. It's like a traditional English song, English mining song. But it's a perfect song for improvising because I basically have a verse, and then I'm able to improvise. There's no real kind of chorus as such. There's a little bit sort of a chorus, but it's basically just a verse and then improvise, and then verse and then improvise. So it's kind of the perfect example song to show everyone. And I'm in Dadgad here, but it doesn't matter what tuning you're in. This applies to any tuning. And this is kind of the melody that I improvise over. And obviously when you're thinking about fingerstyle guitar, it's a little different to just improvising if you're playing a plectrum, you know, because if you're playing it with a pick, it's mainly just one note at a time melodies, you know. But obviously we have to think about it a little differently because we're playing the bass line as well over the top. But we'll come to that in a little bit. I just wanted to go over a little bit on tip number 1, which is keep it simple. And that's also what I do for the bass line, you know. This is not necessarily the bass line of the main melody. The main melody bass line is a lot more complicated than this, you know. But I try and reduce it to just a few notes. This is just mainly just... I'm picking other notes, but I'm basically just going A, which is the root, so I'm in the key of A in this. I've got the capo on the 4th fret, but whatever, it doesn't matter, but just to let you know. And I'm playing A, and then we're going to F, and then we're going to G. And that's the melody, the bass line melody, you know. And all the notes these other notes that you can hear me playing, these are just kind of filler, what I call filler notes. You know? And they're just there to keep the rhythm, you know. And I'm just playing, that's an E. Just playing some open strings there, you know. It's just like open strings, and just to keep the melody. I'm thinking about the rhythm, sorry. So that's part of what I mean by keeping it simple. But a lot to do with the notes as well. So I would play something like... lots of space. This is what I try and do when I improvise. So keeping it simple. Let's go straight to number 2. And making it rhythmical. So this is another thing that I kind of tell myself when I'm playing, keeping it simple, keeping it rhythmical. Going back to this bass line. Everything I kind of play will be in the time, you know, in time, on time. You know, so I try and be as rhythmical as I can with it, and this really helps with things. I find it helps the listener make sense of what you're doing. You know, I think if you try and fit in too many notes, it's a lot harder to keep it rhythmical. I think when we're composing, you know, just think about like when we're composing melodies and chords and notes, we try and keep things rhythmical and simple, you know. So it also applies to improvising as well, you know. Especially if you're not too comfortable with playing with improvising, it's a lot easier to keep it as simple as possible than trying to fit in as many notes as you can, you know. So making it rhythmical, keep things in time, helps to simplify things, you know, keeping it in time. Like, if I really try and make it simple as I can. Just one note there. I wouldn't play that for too long, but that's just an example, just keeping it very, very simple. And rhythmical helps with that. Yeah. And also I find great melodies are in time, you know. When I come up with a really nice melody that I really like, it usually has a good rhythm to it. It's not all over the place timing wise, you know. So this is how I feel. Keeping it simple, number one. Number two, making it rhythmical. We'll go to the comments. Hey Jasper, how's it going? Welcome, good to have you on the live stream. Jasper says, would love to hear you sing and play a song in standard tuning one day. Yeah, me too. You know what? I do actually sometimes go crazy and adventure into the standard tuning. I do like standard tuning. It's the problem is if you play in too many open tunings, you forget how to play in standard tuning. It's happened to me before, but at the moment, at least, I'm doing lots of teaching, and most of my teaching is like, it's a lot of classical stuff in schools to kids and stuff like this. So, which I really like, but it kind of keeps my roots, keeps like the basics, you know, the fundamentals of things, keeps me on top of that, you know, with my sight reading, my theory, and the classical way of doing things. You know, I'm not a very good classical guitarist at all, but that's also something I would like to kind of develop my skills in. But it's nice to kind of keep that fundamentals, keep practicing it, you know, and I get paid for it, which is great. So I can play in standard tuning, of course, and I do actually have a few songs in standard tuning. And I'll probably do that at some point. In my last album, I had one song in standard tuning. You know, I do have them from time to time. It's just I don't have many guitars in standard tuning, apart from classical guitars. So I could always do it in with a classical guitar. You know, I do like the sound of classical guitars. So yeah, absolutely, I'll bear that in mind. And do you sing some songs in drop D? You know, I if I'm going to drop D, I'm like, oh, I might as well just put the whole thing in Dadgad. That's how I feel about drop D. I don't know. I haven't really explored drop D in a while, in a long time. So maybe that's something I could explore a little bit. Do you play in drop D? I'm guessing you do if you're asking. Yeah, it's maybe it's just something. It's very easy, you know, to get into. So maybe that's something to explore. If there's other people that want to do more in drop D, I can always, you know, if there's more people that request that and standard tuning as well. Yeah, just leave a comment. Also, if you're watching this on the replay, drop a comment on that and seeing if you want me to do more stuff in standard or drop D. Yeah, Jasper, yeah, says a lot. Yeah, a lot in drop D and standard, or just drop D. Yeah, I mainly Dadgad is my standard tuning, you know. So I do a lot in Dadgad, but it's definitely good to keep the standard tuning up. But yeah, maybe that's something I can do for sure. Because I do have a few songs in standard tuning, but like I said, I haven't played them in a long time, but I need to practice. I need to practice my songs. It's something that I'm really bad at remembering my songs. I have to kind of practice my songs and remember them like all over again. Anyway, I'll go to number 3, which is be confident in your decisions. And this kind of fits in with keeping it simple and making it rhythmical. Even if it's stupidly simple, there's some confidence with that, keeping something stupidly simple, I find. Again, because I draw the comparison with improvising is basically composing. It's just really quick composing. With composing, keeping something simple, like confidently, have confidence with that simple song, because a lot of great songs are stupidly simple, Knocking on Heaven's Door, 4 chords, great song. And he's confident with that, 4 chords, the whole song. It's keeping things, confidently simple. And even if you make a mistake, I find, be confident with that mistake. There's this thing, I don't know if it's a jazz saying or something, if you play a wrong note, play it again, And I don't know if I've ever done that, I've ever tried that, but I see it makes sense, have confidence with your decisions. What I'm doing here, I'm just playing a lot of open notes mixed with fretted notes, and the melody notes are just kind of basically mainly the three high notes, the first string, the second string, the third string. These kind of notes. I played this one that doesn't really. I'll see if I can put that in and as like a mistake, but play it confidently, I don't know if that works or not. There we go. It worked if I went to this kind of thing, but on its own, kind of sliding it down. Anyway, that's kind of an example of if you play something wrong, play it with confidence. But definitely be confident in your decision making, and this is all something that I tell myself. This is something that I try and do more of when I'm improvising. So we looked at so we're talking about, if you just joined us, we're talking about improvising with fingerstyle guitar and my kind of approach to it. And we're talking about 5 tips, and the first tip was keep it simple. Second tip was make it rhythmical, and third tip was be confident in your decisions. And to number 4 is be aware of your available fingers. And this is really something to do that's specific for fingerstyle, because if we take this example again with what I'm doing, if I use these fingers, I'm playing the open A string here as the bass notes, and being aware of which fingers I'm using for the bass notes because obviously those fingers I can't use for the melody notes, you know. So if I use for example, if I use for the second bass note there, playing an F, if I use my first finger, then I can get up higher, you know, with my little finger. If I wanted to play some higher notes, something like that, for example, I can do that a lot easier. But if I was just playing it with my second finger, you know, it'll be a bit more of a stretch. It's doable, but it's definitely more of a stretch. Just things like that, just being aware of the fingers that are available to you when you're playing. Yeah. And when I go to the third bass note there, I'm usually playing it with my little finger. So obviously my whole hand position changes. The notes that are available, if I wanted to get up here again, obviously I'd have to play it with either my first or second finger there to get up there. But if I play it with my little finger, I can't get there at all, you know, so I'd have to play kind of these notes if I wanted to get to those notes. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. So that's something that's quite important, and it's very specifically for fingerstyle stuff. Yeah, so that's that one. We'll go to the comments now. Chris Turner, how's it going? Welcome to the live stream. Chris says, the big problem I have with improvising is I think I've come up with something off the cuff, then I realize I've ripped off Joni Mitchell again. Yeah, I never think about that really, but yeah, that's a good point. It's all rip-offs, isn't it? Everything that we do, I think. Do you, just out of interest, Chris, do you improvise with a plectrum, or are you talking about fingerstyle, improvising whilst fingerstyle playing? Just out of interest there. But no, I've never come up with that problem. I've never thought, oh, that's someone else's. Usually I've forgotten what I've just played straight after I've played it, you know. Jasper says a few things as well. Sorry, I missed that. What tuning would this be? DGD, DGD, GBD. DGD, GBD. Well, the G is like a fourth, and the B is a sixth, a fourth and a sixth. That would be an interesting tuning. I don't know what that would be. Just have like a fourth and a... Is that a sixth? B, A, D... Yeah, it's like a sixth, right? Sixth. So it'd be root, 4, root, 4, sixth, root. So no fifths or thirds in there or anything. That would be interesting to try. Final question. Shouldn't my thumb be way in the front of my fingers? How do you mean? Which thumb? Way in front of my fingers. Do you mean on your right hand? How do you mean? Yeah, I guess you mean your right hand, huh? Yeah, it depends. It kind of depends on which position, or if you're talking about your right hand, you know. With like alternate thumb stuff, yeah, you want to make sure, or generally really, you want to make sure that your thumb is definitely in front there, if you can see that. But you know, I sometimes have maybe a bit more of a classical approach, if you can see that, like that, and have my fingers sort of almost arching out like that, and you know, and that's when, you know, it just gives a different sound. If I'm like this, I'm using my skin. If I'm like this, kind of using my nail a bit more, kind of digs in a little bit. So it just depends on what kind of sound you want. But if I'm doing like fast alternate thumb picking stuff, then yeah, I would have my hand kind of closer to the strings. Yeah, you said right hand, right? Yeah. That tuning should be open G. Yeah, I guess it would be open G, right? I was thinking in D, but if it's open G, yeah, then the D is a fifth. You got fifths in there, and the B is like the third, right? Major third. Major third for a G. Yeah, I guess that would be open G. G is something interesting. Open G. I haven't really tried it that much. Something I'd like to explore a bit more. I hope that answers your question with the right hand. I kind of just change depending on what sort of sound that I want. So it kind of depends on what sort of sound you want. But yeah, in general, you don't want it to kind of hit your other fingers. You want it kind of out of the way a little bit. But it kind of depends on what sort of sound. So we talked about be confident in your decisions and be aware of your available fingers. Oh, I think I missed... Sorry, Chris, I missed your comment back to the question I had. Fingerstyle, steel and nylon string acoustics. Yeah, cool. Nice. Chris also says Pierre Benson changes his hand position throughout the song. Yeah, he does. He really does. I'm working through one of his online courses at the moment. Nice. There's so much information in there. Yeah. I didn't realize he had online courses. I've got to look at that. Yeah, I've got one of his books, and I've seen him a few times live. He's amazing with his right hand. He definitely at times has a bit more of this kind of position with his hands, rather than sticking really close with his right hand. But yeah, he changes it all the time, and he also moves it up and down as well. Getting, obviously, if you have it closer to the bridge, it's gonna be a bit more of a different sound to, you know, if you're down here and stuff. So, oh, it's on his TrueFire. Okay, cool. I'll check that out. Thanks. But yeah, I talk about Pierre a lot on this channel, or on these live streams. All right, and number 5, because I've got to keep this one short, guys. I don't know how long I've been going on for, but I need to pack because we're going on holiday tomorrow, and I need to still need to pack. And we've got a really early. We haven't got a flight or anything. We've just got a train down to South Germany. But we really early train though. really early. I still need to pack and everything like that. So this will be my last tip, is make it conversational. And this is something that I'm kind of trying to do a lot more, of making my improvising more conversational. And what I mean by that is I always think of notes of improvising as a conversation, as like I'm having a conversation now with all of you. You know, I'm speaking the language, the English language, and I know it so well that I can just improvise these words. I don't know what I'm going to say before I say them. But it's the same kind of thing, you know, where I try and make it as conversational. So I think about it like almost a call and response kind of thing. Like, just an example. I'll go on this bass line again. So this is something that I'm really trying to work on more, you know, of trying to kind of make it more conversational and make it, yeah, like a conversation, like two people are almost having a conversation. Hope that makes sense in some kind of way. So these 5 tips, I'll do a song before I end, is keeping it simple is number 1. Number 2, making it rhythmical. Number 3, be confident in your decisions. Number 4, be aware of your available fingers. And number 5, make it conversational. I hope that helped in some way, or you got some inspiration out of that. Sorry I have to make this a little bit shorter than usual, but I really need to start packing because we're going on holiday. This will be my last live stream for a couple of weeks. I think my next one is at the beginning of August, so I'm missing a few, but I definitely got a few normal YouTube videos lined up for everyone, so there should be a few interesting ones coming up in the next couple of weeks while I'm away. Yeah, so if you have any more questions, thanks a lot, Jasper. Cheers. Just saying bye to Jasper. If you have any more questions, then drop them down below and I'll answer them before I leave. But I'll just end on this one. This is Banks of the D. This is the song that I've been doing. It's a traditional English mining song. I'm in Dadgad in the key of A on this one. Here we go.
Saturday night by the banks of the Dee, and I met an old man under stress I could see, and I sat down beside him, and to me he did say, oh, I can't get employment for me here, it's turn grey. Oh, I am an old miner, aged 56. If I could get lots, what I'd raffle me picks. I'd raffle them and I'd sell them and I'd haul them away. But I can't get employment, for me hair it's turned grey. Last Wednesday night to the reckoning I went. To the culinary office I went straight for her nest. And I got me wage packet and I was walking her way. But they gave us me notice, for me hair it's turned grey. Oh, I am an old miner, aged 56. If I could get lots, what I'd raffle me picks. I'd raffle them and I'd sell them and I'd haul them away. But it gave us me notice, for me hair it's turned grey. That was Banks of the D. Thank you so much. It's been fun, and I hope you got some value out of this live stream. Let me know in the comments below if you're watching this on the replay, if you enjoyed this live stream, and if you improvise as well, and if you also have any other tips for everyone else, that would be great, you know. Just before I go, please, if you're not part of my website community, this is just a little community that I have, and if you want to dive in a little bit deeper with more than I have to offer on my YouTube channel, we kind of talk about the similar sort of stuff, but it's more kind of in-depth, and I talk about ideas and stuff like this. I can kind of show you what the thing is, so you can actually sign up. I'll put a link in the description below,
And this is kind of the community, and I show some microphones. This is a lovely microphone that I've been using recently, and all about it, and some videos. And this is kind of, these ones are actually some YouTube videos that are going to be posted in a couple of weeks, but there's definitely a lot of exclusive stuff that I haven't posted anywhere else, and it kind of goes in depth, and it's a way of me being able to kind of grow a little community with people that kind of share the same values as me, and where I'm able to kind of say kind of more stuff that I don't want the general public to be talking about, and stuff like this. So it's a really nice little community. So if you're interested in that, then just go in the description down below and you can sign up, or on my website fabianholm.com. It would be lovely to see you in our little community. Other than that, have a wonderful, wonderful day. I'm going to continue packing before we go. Probably be up until quite late this evening. But have a great one. Hope everyone is doing well. And I will see you again all very, very soon. Bye.